In a world of declining marketing budgets, one copywriter will sit and judge.
Only one person on set can have an impact on every single aspect of the movie, and that's, of course, the director. Some directors are visually oriented. They prefer to tell the story through images, whereas other directors are more dialogue oriented. They want to tell that story through the words of the characters. If you give an identical script to two different directors, you're going to get two completely different movies, especially if one's more visually oriented. Of course, that never really happens in real life, but how about the next best thing? A sequel written by the same writer, except the first movie's director was someone who is known for his visual filmmaking style, and the sequel has been directed by more of a dialogue guy, who also happens to be the writer. Would an audience notice that the style has changed? Would you have to market the movie differently? And that's exactly the lens I'm looking through as I examine The Social Reckoning teaser trailer. They're labeling this a teaser trailer, which is a little more than a teaser and a little less than a trailer, but not quite a trailer one, which would be more trailery. It's a teaser trailer, which is more teasery. These are terms of art. Let's just say a teaser trailer should leave you with a lot of questions. I can't just play the trailer for you here, so I put a link to the full official trailer in the description, and there's another one that's going to pop up in the top right corner of the screen. Go watch it there first, and you'll enjoy this review more. So, how does a marketing team get an audience excited for a sequel that looks and feels nothing like the first movie? Let's watch the trailer and find out. We begin, as all trailers begin, with the opening shot. Two people sitting in a secluded, misty woodland spot. Perhaps a knoll, a grassy knoll. Based on their clothes, they appear to be in current day, probably not medieval Europe. One could be forgiven for thinking this is Washington, D.C. The leaves appear to be changing, either late fall or early winter. Mikey Madison, you may remember her from Anora. She's wearing a puffy jacket, all bundled up. Leg warmers, gloves with no fingers, or those sleeves where you stick your thumbs through. It seems to be cold. Let's let the shot play out and see what happens.
Listen, before I go on, I want to make something clear.
We know this is an intense conversation. We know that she's giving him some information. Even though she's sitting in a submissive position with her shoulders hunched forward, he's also sitting in a similar position. And with that line of dialogue, she's in control here. It feels conspiratorial.
Sounds like they're conspiring to conspire.
Is this nefarious? We don't know, but we'd find out if we continue playing. So we'll continue on into the setup.
I want to make something clear.
Okay.
And that's Jeremy Allen White. You may know him from The Bear, the TV show, not the me. He looks concerned, he looks a little uncomfortable. He's either trying to be empathetic or he wants her to think he is.
I have a hunch you're not a fan of Facebook.
Maybe you heard of it.
But I am.
There is a ton of cultural and social baggage attached to Facebook. Everyone in the audience is going to have some sort of feelings about it.
I am here to help Facebook, not hurt it.
Already we're getting a huge conflict here within her internally. It's a great way to set up her character. Having her say that I like Facebook and I don't want to hurt it is not necessarily winning her any empathy points from the audience, although showing that she's conflicted does make her more relatable. So what am I talking about? I don't know. It's just interesting. Just be interested.
Not hurt it, okay?
You sent me a message.
We don't really know what's happening yet, and we don't know who the protagonist is. It could be either one of them, or it could be a two-hander, which is when you have two characters who both experience a profound life-changing event. Either way, her contacting him is definitely the inciting incident.
What would you like to talk about?
They go into the logos with a bit of a cliffhanger. We have no idea what's going on, but we want to know more. What is this, some kind of teaser? Sony Pictures releasing? Columbia
The chairman,
and Alcon Entertainment.
the chairman gavels the session to order. You'll read your opening statement, which we'll skip past for now, that's a separate session, and we'll move to witness questioning.
Lots of information getting fed to us through keywords here. The gavel indicates it's a court proceeding, however, she said chairman instead of judge. She mentions the opening statement and witness questions. Is this something for the board of directors? Is it a congressional hearing? We don't really know, but we know it's important. They've set up an entire dress rehearsal just for this event, and there's a whole lot of high-priced talent sitting around there. And yet we haven't seen who her client is yet. What is this, some kind of teaser?
And we'll move to witness questioning.
You hear that drone of tension underneath her whole little monologue. It's gotten a little more complex. There's a low note, there's a high note.
So what?
It's soft, but with a sharp edge. I like these graphics. I believe the background's intended to remind us of a computer screen. Obviously way larger pixels, lower resolution than anything we'd have today. But when the first version of Facebook came out, you'd probably had a screen that looked similar to that. Then over that, we have the text. Clean, easy to read, sans serif, which is French for no serifs. Those little lines on the letters. It fades up and the glow starts just over the beginning of the word, the social. Then it spreads and expands and goes across the general idea of words on a computer screen. Very thematic. Hey, here we have a pedigree. They're telling us about the people who made the movie. From the Academy Award-winning writer of The Social Network. That's Aaron Sorkin. He's done a lot. Very well known for his dialogue. Intelligent, very dramatic, intense, stylized, and riveting. Often fast-paced. Some would call it brilliant. We're getting all that from this card, I guess. Or at least they hope we do.
Spell your name and state your current occupation for the record.
MARKZUCKERBERG.
Well, if you can spell, that was the reveal.
And your occupation?
Camera's going off, and that sound effect calls to mind news or newsworthy things happening. It feels momentous. It feels important.
I'm a professional defendant.
And there's your reveal. We've got Jeremy Strong playing Mark Zuckerberg. Another Jeremy. It's so rare that we get two Jeremys in one movie. This hasn't happened since Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, which featured Jeremy Allen White and Jeremy Strong. Oh, what are the odds? Something I'm going to be watching is how does he perform as Mark Zuckerberg? That's got to be one of the biggest challenges for an actor to play someone like Mark Zuckerberg. He is a well-known, world-renowned, famous human being, allegedly.
You drink coffee, man, or no?
Nah.
Really?
Yeah.
A Rizless wonder.
Great to talk to you guys too.
He's probably an android, maybe part robot. The most unnatural delivery of any living human being I've ever seen.
Enough with the fun and games. It's time for everyone's favorite. Work.
You drink coffee, man, or no?
Nah.
Work. So this actor has to portray that in a believable way. Jeremy Strong is known as being a method actor, so he's going all in on this portrayal of Zuckerberg. Too much of that in a teaser trailer could be an awkward vibe. It may be fascinating to see him do a really good job pretending to be Mark Zuckerberg, but most people will not find Mark Zuckerberg a compelling watch. Who wants to see more of him? I think we've all had our fill.
That's too bad. I'm a professional defendant.
It's snarky with a little bit of arrogance. It clearly sets him up as the villain in this. He's in this dark, cold corporate environment, overtly confident, cocksure, in a way that isn't particularly likable.
Classifiers on political groups where 30% of content hits multiple risk factors.
Hang on, I don't understand what you're saying.
Whew, thankfully he said that because I had no idea what she was talking about. This is a classic Aaron Sorkin move. You have somebody who's smart dump a ton of information on us, and then you have another character tell them to slow down and explain it to me like I'm 5. Luckily, we have Jeremy Allen White as our audience surrogate. He's our representative in this movie. Whenever there's something we don't know how to process, he's going to process it for us. That one line made us trust him and kind of like him. Because honestly, none of us want to be thinking during a teaser.
Hang on, I don't understand what you're saying.
Aren't you a tech reporter?
Ish.
Ish.
Ish?
Ish. It's the problem. Actually, we don't know what the problem is yet.
These guys are counting on the next round of congressional testimony to make you likable, Mark. I'm happy to lend a hand, but I think you're doomed.
What the hell is Bill Burr doing here? Does he just show up to set? Hey, what, are you shooting a movie? Need a big, bald, white guy with his Boston accent. Zuckerberg went to Harvard. That's in Boston. Or was it Yale? I don't know. I don't care. We're getting a nice full shot on Jeremy Strong here, too. He looks phenomenally weird. The haircut, the tight lips, the pale skin. It's a fun performance. And Bill Burr drops the line, congressional testimony. If you hadn't picked up on it, now you know. There's a little montage, just intense moments between them, with photo flashes as accents. It's a face-off. This is the fight night promo, sort of the weigh-in moment for the big fight.
This company and that guy are playing an unprecedented role in our lives.
Setting up Zuckerberg as a Goliath, a big, strong, powerful force. But then you're cutting to this shot of him looking a little worried, a little concerned, maybe a little constipated. I mean, that could be it. You know, those guys, they have weird diets.
I drink a very large amount of protein.
Yeah.
Creatine. Yeah, vitamins. Good.
Work. Here we're starting to see the lack of visual stuff to show. Aaron Sorkin directed this. The Social Network was directed by David Fincher, and he's much more of a visual director. He shot it in interesting ways, angles and framing and the blocking of the characters, and did a lot of storytelling through the lens. Aaron Sorkin's primarily a writer. His first big thing was A Few Good Men. Maybe you heard of it.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the Code Red? Thank you.
A stage play, which he then adapted into a screenplay, which was shot by Rob Reiner, who coincidentally appeared on The Bear with Jeremy Allen White just months before the ultimate tragedy struck. Pour one out for Rob Reiner.
It's pretty. Yeah, I like it.
Aaron Sorkin has directed some things before, so he's capable, but he's not known as being particularly visual in his storytelling. And right here, we're seeing shots of probably the Facebook campus, and we're getting the courtroom. It looks like all of the drama has been shot well, but it doesn't seem like they had more interesting shots to use. That's a challenge for an editor. You want to show a lot of visually interesting stuff to the audience. That being said, you got to work with what you got to work with.
The fire hose of bad information you are injecting into the air supply is becoming jet-powered.
Hang on, I don't understand what you're saying.
Congrats, Bill Burr, on reading that line. Aaron Sorkin, congrats on writing it. Everyone involved. That's a tough line to process. I don't know if you use that in the trailer or not, but the next line,
I'm a free speech absolutist.
sounds like very on-the-nose dialogue, like he's telling you what his character is. But is that what he believes, or is that his defense? Who's he trying to convince? Congress? Bill Burr? Himself? Well, that's a social reckoning. And Bill Burr is here to make him likable for Congress. We're not here to tell the truth. We're here to control the narrative. If you try to list the top 10 traits that you look for in a good friend, you're probably not going to list among those the ability to control the narrative.
I'm a free speech absolutist.
I do think they're trying to keep the Jeremy Strong lines to a minimum for this. There's an uncanny valley when you're dealing with someone like Zuckerberg. And then we move on to showing his office, which this is just hilarious. He's in this floating pod in the middle of presumably the Facebook campus. It's a weird office in a weird place for a weird guy.
I'm not the one who's lying.
There's no requirement that I enjoy sitting here listening to people lie.
And then we get his war room, his master control, where he's, I assume, monitoring world events. It looks like there's some news on the one TV, another news on another TV, stocks, weather, and code on the main screen. He's got his finger on the pulse of the world's data.
I'm not stopping them from seeing someone who is.
Methinks thou doth protest too much, Mr. Zuckerberg.
Anxiety, depression of teenage girls got worse as a result of time spent on the platform.
Little bit of a dialogue thing there where they tried to move some words around. So it's not quite a Frankenbite. I'm not going to spend much time on that. More important thing is that we're getting the problem. What is this hearing all about? A company's up to no good and a conflicted whistleblower wants to stop it. But it's just her and an inexperienced reporter against a mega corporation and one of the most powerful CEOs in the world. It's a classic David and Goliath story.
Things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday!
This is the classic scene of the person in the trench coat showing up to give you crucial information. Usually it would be like in a parking garage or something. She's literally wearing a trench coat and she's got a thumb drive. It's almost corny. This is a good visual shorthand, efficiently giving us information while putting the characters in context. It kind of demands to be put in a trailer. It insists upon itself, but in a good way.
Senior leadership knows and is doing nothing.
I know there are easier enemies to make.
The Mafia would be an easier enemy to make.
Now that's giving us the stakes. This is not just David and Goliath. This is the worst Goliath you could go up against. You know, the Mafia, you can pay them off. You can negotiate. They might break your leg or break your thumbs or kill you.
So what?
This is worse. This could ruin your career, bankrupt you, you could lose your family. Your dog will run away. You'll spend the rest of your life alone, drowning in your own regret. Death would seem like a relief. Or maybe I'm reading too much into it.
So
he's a prize fighter, entering the arena and walking towards the ring. He just needs some better entrance music. Something more badass, inspiring, intimidating. Something like boo boo ba doo boo boo ba doo goo goo.
So what would you need?
To stand up the story, the internal documents.
This is a material violation of my NDA.
The stakes continuing to roll out. She has an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. I've signed a lot of them in my day. I can't talk about certain movies here because of that. This is her saying, look, if I give you this information and they figure out where it came from, I'll never work again. And remember, we learned right off the bat, she doesn't hate Facebook. She doesn't want to be removed from the Facebook family or whatever. So there's her stakes.
We're twice as big as the biggest country on earth.
Another building. We're getting a lot of buildings. I mean, that's what it is. It's people and buildings. People in buildings, people around buildings, people outside of buildings, the buildings themselves. We assume there's people in this building.
Shrimp soup, shrimp stew, shrimp salad.
So this is a good shot. I like the angles of the building. Kind of has an architectural drama to it. Then we get a late night, isolated office. Kind of has an architectural drama to it.
We're not frightened of Congress. We're post-government around here.
Please let me quote that.
Wow, great moment, great line. It just keeps getting bigger. Like, what are they going to say next? We're God? You're fighting Jesus? Good luck, buddy. But then this line.
Please let me quote that.
We're learning how the hero fights. I'm not going to control the narrative. I'm going to publish the truth. I'm going to take your words and use them against you. It's such a powerful moment, and it shows you that we're in for one hell of a social reckoning.
You have 102 hours to get everything.
102 hours. We have a ticking clock. You don't get this in very many movies. It's just such a juicy line. It's going to be a fast-paced, intense race to the finish to get this information out there before, I assume, the congressional hearing. I love it. We still have this tension building
Into small pieces.
I don't want...
The rise is rising. amazing. And the editing's starting to speed up too.
2 hours to get everything.
She's gonna get sued into small pieces.
Again and again and again, we're getting the stakes. There's so much stakes. And now we're back in the park again. Now it's raining, umbrellas out, the storms are brewing. And you're in for one hell of a reckoning.
I don't want to be made an example of by a guy with unlimited resources.
Harm, I promise you, is imminent. Enough!
Yes! Great. That was awesome. You have the build to the big... That's a stop down, because in trailers we don't just stop, we stop down. What we have here is a concept teaser. The entire teaser up to this point has been building up to that moment, that sound going underneath it.
She's gonna get sued into small pieces.
Gradually louder. It builds and builds, and the cutting speeds up. You get faster edits. You don't realize it was happening until after the rise ends.
I don't want to be made an example of by a guy with unlimited resources.
The tension built higher and higher, and
Harm, I promise you, is imminent.
More stress, and then we just an explosion, and we release. Sorry, what am I talking about? I'm giving it a bonus point for the concept. You don't see a lot of good concepts. Congratulations.
Joy?
That hollow, echoey sound, a rumbling wind, like a distant thunder. Want to watch it again?
Enough!
Okay, moving on.
People around here understand that when I say no, that's the end of the debate. I'm not 2 years out of a dorm room anymore, Charlie. Look around.
Oh, that is some fine acting, asserting himself, trying to be the big man. But look at his body language here. Shaking. He can barely contain his emotions. But even better, after he's done delivering it, watch him. That little stutter step, the way he stumbles back. He looks like a little kid who's just yelled at his parents for the first time and he's waiting to get slapped. He's powerful, he's strong, but he's also sad and weak. In teasers, we don't typically get the back end. The back end would have a montage with thematic messaging, details about the story, the characters, genre element, the style.
Enough!
The teaser wants to leave you with questions. It wants you craving more. So we don't need a back end. Instead, we get the big reveal. And that's exactly what this is. We've built up this powerful, unbeatable antagonist, and now we're learning that he may be weaker than we once thought.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
This movie may not have a lot of visually impressive shots to put in the teaser, but damn if that wasn't a powerful moment. We can just stop right here, which I think they do. So here we get the title, same graphics treatment as before, the soft piano coming in, we're calm.
Calmer than you are.
We're in this moment. They just took us on a roller coaster ride of emotions and stuck the landing. Now they want us to relax, catch our breath, and think about what we just saw. It's a nice touch. After the title, we get the button.
I don't know what the girl thinks she's doing.
She's disrupting.
You see her here in front of this window with the light, angelic. And then this guy with the sign that says the bold behind him, a little on the nose, subliminal. He's kind of the henchman and he's so dismissive. Presumably she's in the room with him. I don't know if that's true. No, that's not the same room. That's a room in Washington. This is in the Facebook office. But the way they cut it, you think he's saying this in front of her, which is pretty powerful. I don't know if they totally intended that, but I think it's a good cut and makes her seem courageous.
She's disrupting.
All the tech companies always claim they're disrupting industries, and now she's disrupting them. It's a great moment to end on. We get the end card, which means there's only one thing left. The score. 8 categories on a scale of 1 to 5. The rubric is below. Once again, there's no copy, which gives me and other copywriters plenty of time to make YouTube videos. Lucky you. The graphics. Simple, easy to read, interesting, and thematic. I'll give it a 3.75. The sound design. Not too much to talk about. Let's listen to the highlights. Basically, one long rise with some flashbulb sound effects, a little hit, a little rumble. Of course, all things serve the concept, so I'm not going to dock them points for showing restraint. 3 points. The music. This is a sequel to a movie that had one of the most epic trailer cues of all time. And what did we follow it up with? A slow rise that had some strings in it, and over the title they drop a few seconds of a cue that came from the first movie's soundtrack. The fact that only served to remind me that the first movie's trailer was so much better. I'm gonna give it a 2 for this. Genre elements. This is a prime example of a corporate thriller, and they nail every part of this genre. You have the nervous whistleblower, the young reporter who's in over their head, intense dialogue, moments of high tension, lots of offices, visual drama, trench coat revelations, high stakes, and a ticking clock to boot. I'm giving it a 4.25. The pitch is mostly there. We understand the basic premise of the story. This is a teaser trailer, so I can't dock them for keeping some secrets. I'm gonna give it a 3. And they got a bonus point for doing a conceptual teaser. Very rarely does one see the light of day, and you'll love to see it when it does. The strategy is in 2 parts. First, there's a concept. Every time you're doing a conceptual teaser, you're doing it for 4 reasons. The other half of the strategy is the Fight Night promo. It's an epic clash between two prize fighters. In this corner, you have the powerful Goliath that can't be beaten. And in this corner, you have the underdog, coming in to face the champ. The strategy here is simple. Well, do they do it?
Joy?
The Fight Night promo, pretty common strategy, but it suits this movie so perfectly, and the decision to go with a concept was a wise one. I'm gonna give them a 4 for the strategy. The editing is a little more complicated. There were a lot of good moments. They showed just the right amount of Jeremy Strong's performance to be impressive without making it weird, and for the most part, the concept was well executed. However, I did have some issues with the editing. We needed to understand the problem much sooner, and it was far too long. At 2:22, it's almost as long as a trailer. With teaser trailers, it's almost always true that less is more. Now, they may argue that they needed all this time to sufficiently build up the rise, but I believe they could have done it more efficiently. We didn't need to be beaten over the head with the stakes. Could have done with a little less Bill Burr. That jet-powered line was mostly just distracting. We had 2 mini montages almost back to back, and the more time they tried to fill with interesting shots, the more clear it became that they didn't have that many. Of course, I'm not predicting the movie, I'm reviewing the trailer, so I'm not saying the movie isn't visually interesting on its own. And even though all things serve the concept and they executed the concept well, I'm gonna have to give them a 2.8. So we total up the category scores plus that bonus point, and we divide by the number of categories it qualifies for, which is 7. And we get a grand total of 3.400, just slightly above the social median.
Okay. People will measure us by our results.
Well, what do you reckon? Did an interesting concept and lots of intense dialogue do enough to get an audience riled up for the movie? Or are we sitting here wondering, why does it look different? What happened to the style? Why is Bill Burr here? I think you know my opinion, but I'd love to hear yours. Come at me in the comments. And while you're down there, give me a thumb, subscribe, and check out some of my other videos. And if you want to be notified of future videos, hit the bell so you can see me next time.
Try it again. I keep on messing this up.